Hello, my name is Paulina Serrano Loyola and I will be sharing how I see the world with you. If you are here, it's because you really care, but if that's not the case, I don't really blame you because who wants to know what a 16-year-old has to say about the earth and how it's literally dying in front of my eyes, and we can say in front of yours too. So if you're an adult, maybe you will recognize this phrase. Either you heard it from someone else, from some other adult, or you made it yourself to one of the younger generations. If you're of the younger generation, just like me, then you can relate to this phrase. So adults basically said we can be the heroes or not of this world. What do I mean with this? We can either save the world from climate change or we can keep destroying it. This is really funny for me because I'm 16 years old and I have this huge responsibility on me. And this is how I imagine it.
Oh, hello there! I'm Super Pau and I'm gonna be the one to save the world. Well, my generation is gonna save the world from climate change. Oh, wait, what?
Oh, yes, but I'm still a student.
Oh, hey, teacher, I have a question. But why do we need to plant trees?
Now that we're back, why do we need to plant trees? Well, over time, these trees will be the reason why are we still alive. And education is key for fighting climate change, protecting life underwater, and the development of sustainable cities. Adults are not dumb, and because of that, I remember since elementary, all of my teachers telling us how eventually this world will rely on us. But I also remember how they will get mad for how irresponsible we were. I also remember how having talks about taking care of the planet was really important, just as much as putting deodorant after gym class. In my own opinion, I think it really helped me make my own opinions on the topic climate change, and it helped me to debate with my friends about this. But is it enough to debate about climate change to actually save the world? Well, through climate change education, schools have an actual opportunity to teach their students to evaluate a variety of evidence and then draw their own conclusions. It also creates a deep thinking, engaged, and self-aware students. Like I said before, education is key for human beings' success, and climate change is not the exception, because it is really important to teach new generations to think differently from the actual ones. But why do this? Well, if we prepare new people with a different perspective of how to see the world, then maybe, and just maybe, we should be able to find a possible solution to stop this problem, climate change. So I remember this time when I was in Cancun with my family and it was my first time snorkeling. So I put my equipment on and I was ready to go. The fun part is when I was on this huge rock just chilling for a few minutes, and when I went back to my mom, she was like, "Oh, how beautiful was it? That fish was amazing." And I was like, "Mom, what fish? That's an actual rock." And she said to me, "No, that's a fish that can actually camouflage." After that moment, I got chills. But most importantly, I realized that I wasn't really aware of life underwater, which is really common, sadly. We hurt animals and we don't even realize it. We need to stop hurting life underwater and actually taking care of animals. All of the oceans are hugely important to all of our lives. Now you will be wondering, why? Well, they absorb 30% of the human-produced carbon dioxide. They also produce a significant proportion of our animal protein. They also provide us with products that are so useful in medicine, and they buffer against devastation produced by natural disasters. And that's not even the most important part. The most important one is that more than 3 billion people depend on marine and coastal biodiversity for their livelihoods. The world's oceans' temperature, chemistry, currency, and life drive global systems to make the earth actually habitable for humans. So the least we can do is to return the favor to the ocean by taking care of life underwater. So actually, before living in Querétaro, I lived in Mexico City. In not a very beautiful part, I may say. That's why when I moved here, I could see a change, like having green areas, less traffic, quiet and peaceful environments, and the most important thing, a sustainable culture. What I just mentioned for you are some of the elements of a sustainable city. That's why I love Querétaro, and I think we need to plan or convert cities to be more like this one. Making these will produce more efficiency in every aspect you can think about, like the correct management of resources, less pollution, conservation of green areas and the species, etc. This is why creating or transforming cities into sustainable ones are really important. Cities occupy at least 3% of the Earth's land and account for 60 to 80% of energy consumption and at least 70% of carbon emissions. In the future, 90% of the human expansion will be in the developing world. I know the change might be scary a lot of the time, but you can trust me in this one when I say that it is for humanity's own good to change cities to be sustainable in order to have a clean development. But what I mean by clean development is to grow in a friendly way with the earth. So the importance of everything I just told you is that if we don't develop sustainable cities, if we don't find solutions for climate change and we don't protect life underwater, we won't be able to survive, or we are not gonna be able to have a good quality of life in the future. What do you think? That's how I see the world. So if you really wanted to avoid this type of conversation, then a tip that I can give you is to be more careful next time a 16-year-old wants to share with you how she or he sees the world, because it can get really deep, just like this TEDx, or it can get really dumb in so little time. I really hope that you share what you think is the most important thing about this TEDx, and you will be able to teach others about this topic too. So the last thing I've got to say to you is, why do we need to plant trees? I don't know. You tell me, and you tell others too.